Without a doubt, Solo Leveling is a smash hit, especially globally. This show is just taking the world by storm. If you are not an anime fan, it's likely that you're actually watching it despite that. And yes, even though you are like a diehard anime fan, you can at least acknowledge that this thing sort of just has the world by the gut. It's just grabbing it. But here recently, the producers with the actual team, we have an animation producer and the producer at Aniplex have done an AMA on Reddit, and there's quite a few quotes that are being taken out from it and being spread around, and a lot of people are really excited about what it's actually saying there. One specifically talking about how long it actually took to produce. So I thought I'd get on here and, go through the actual AMA itself and give a little insight into it, because I think there's certain things that people aren't quite understanding exactly what they're saying. So let's just go through it. And you know what? Let's actually start with the one that most people are kind of confused a little bit about. Question was, what was the average time it took to complete an episode? And how much time was given for localization? Adapting the Japanese names like Shun Muzushino to the original ones, etc. Kaneko says each episode takes about 10 months to complete. Whew. With some of the longer ones taking up to 12 months. As for localization, we work to achieve a near simultaneous global launch. Subtitling happens almost around the clock to delete. We'll do the rest of it later. Let's zero in on that first part, because I think that's, again, the big juicy one that a lot of people are pointing out. And I think they actually mentioned this with one of the episodes way before. I think at some point there was actually a post that was being out that the episode when it aired was like 12 months or something like that. I might be thinking of another show. But it all comes down to the thing that I kind of said back then with whatever that show is, if it was a show, and I'll say now, is the idea that I think there's a misinterpretation of what they're actually saying here, and the idea that it's taking them a single episode. They're all focused on a single episode for 12 to, months, which meaning, yes, I've seen some people point out, wait, does this mean it took 12 years? No, that's not, that doesn't mean this takes 12 years. You have to consider how an anime itself is made. When you have essentially, for something like this, I would venture to say hundreds of people working on this project at the same time. Again, you have to think about the team itself. You're starting off with the producers, the directors, you have the person working on the storyboards, the script, the series composition, you have the sound design, which is a team in itself, you have the music and the composers themselves, you have the background artists, you have the After Effects, the person that work on the After Effects, any sort of CGI visuals that are being added to the project itself, the people doing the coloring, the key artist, the in-betweens, all that stuff. Like there's a massive group of people that are all working on the project, and it all has to work simultaneously, and it all comes together to make a finished product. Now, the thing is that it's inefficient for some person to work on one part of the episode and then just sit there and wait for them to start the second episode. So what they essentially do is they have this layout of every single episode and what each individual is going to be working on it per time. And so you have the initial person that is going to be directing over it is going to be going, okay, so you're going to work on, these 3 seconds of episode 2 on this day. And you're going to work on then later on this segment right here in episode 4 on this day. And so, yes, while it does take from the point in which they're creating the storyboards for the episode 1, say, the very beginning, they're going to start day 1, start the storyboards. It's not going to finish until about 10 to 12 months later on, because they have to create that storyboard, deviate out who does what, and then eventually, over time, it all comes together at the very end. This is what we call, sadly these days, a healthy production of an anime. This is just something that you don't really see anymore, because you have situations like the beginning after the end right now, where it feels like, and I have no proof of this, it feels like the beginning after the end maybe only had 3 months to work with. Like they're pushing out the door. They're outsourcing a lot from what it seems like. They're flubbing the hell out of it. And I don't blame ACAT entirely. I think they probably got contacted too late. Even though it's a similar situation here, Solo Leveling is given the proper time, scheduling, all that stuff. They're given flexibility here. These producers are literally living the dream for an animator. These guys have exactly how much time they need. It seems like they're given the budget they need. They're given everything they need to make sure this is top notch. Obviously, why? Because this is a moneymaker. This is literally their Demon Slayer right now. Aniplex is making sure this thing looks beautiful, and these guys have exactly what they need. So my whole point here really is, don't take this as everybody on board sits down in a room for 12 months to work on one episode. It's more of the fact that they're kind of deviating out to individuals, and eventually it all comes together in the end after 10 to 12 months. And each of these individuals aren't sitting around waiting for the next project to come along to them. They're going to be working on other episodes. This person that's going to be basically heading everybody is going to have a laid out schedule. And he's going to be saying, you're going to be working on this part, this episode's keys right here. You're going to work on this keys right here. And everybody's going to basically be working on the entire project over a span of probably, I would say for this whole thing, probably 2 years. This whole thing probably took 2 years. It's just from the very beginning, day one, they started working on episode 1, and it maybe took like 10 months to finish. But by the time the last episode was done, it was only 2 years. It was probably about 2 years. It's just like this, again, the spread of what everybody's kind of working on throughout that time. It's a simultaneous. Everybody's working simultaneously on 12 episodes at the same time. It just takes, from storyboards to completion, 12 months for some episodes. So that's what it's really kind of saying there. So don't get that out of whack there. But it's good. But this is good. Like I said, this is what every show should be. This is technically a standard. I would say most shows, for a long time there, I would say it's kind of getting more diluted in the unfortunate route of something like Tabat. Most shows, the average show, should be similar to this, about 5 to 6 months. Most shows should have about 5 to 6 months to kind of cook. If they don't, they're going to have production issues. Whenever you see production issues in a show, for example, right now, just to not beat Tabat to death here, can a boy-girl friendship survive? That show, by the second episode and then on, has been looking rough already. You already have the signs there that this show probably had a decent, time to work with for the first couple episodes, but now they're pushing. Now they're trying to get it past that end. So I would assume they probably started production not even 6 months out, and now they're starting to get to the neck of that line where, yes, they had 6 months to work with the first episode, and they were working on the other episodes too. But as they got closer and closer to the actual production dates, they're running out of time. They don't have that time. Every show should be given this kind of flexibility. But unfortunately, not every show has the budget that Solo Leveling is going to get. And that's the unfortunate thing. And you would kind of hope as we get more and more shows that are just being churned out like crazy that they would kind of dial back and focus on giving every show this kind of treatment. It's just unfortunately, not every show is going to get this kind of kickback, this kind of merchandising and whatnot that's going to make it worth it. These producers are putting their money out there for an adaptation. They're not going to put much if they don't think they're going to get much kickback. But anyways, that's sort of what this is meaning here. Hopefully that made sense to you guys. If you have any further questions, definitely hit me up. But anyways, as for localization, we work hard to achieve near simultaneous global launch. I would expect that. Subtitling happens almost around the clock to meet delivery. This is not a surprise. I mean, they have the damn script. This is an achievement right here. They literally have the script. I mean, that was the big thing when Crunchyroll first started doing simulcasts. It was a big shocker there because before then, even with them as well, again, when they were a piracy site, a lot of people that were doing fan subs and whatnot were having to wait till the show comes out. Then they would have to transcribe the show itself. Then they would have to subtitle, translate it. And then they would have to apply the subtitles. Whereas Crunchyroll, what they were doing in those early moments, and Funimation as well, was that they were able to contact the actual studio before it was finished, before they had the masters, before they had what they were going to put on their website. They were given the script. They knew exactly what the characters were going to say at what times in the actual show, so they could make the subtitles before they even got the masters. It was really cool. So yeah, this is not a massive feat. Which makes you more critical of the fact that if the subtitles are messed up, it's like, dude, you guys had this stuff for a long time and you still messed it up? Anyways, and the dubbing process usually takes 2 to 3 weeks per episode. I can see that. I mean, you have to schedule people. This isn't like a massive feat, but you have to schedule the people. They have to have their availability and all that kind of stuff. So, really good one. This is a really good question, Mark. Let's get the other ones here so we can get some other stuff. The borings. There's a couple of other questions in here that are actually really good. So stick around. Don't run off yet. You had the opportunity to work with several magnificent animators. Everyone at the team was incredible. I have to start by saying that animator Tori Takafumi spoke very highly of Kano, and Kano in turn, deep respect for Nakagawa. That circle of mutual admiration extended to Maruyama, and it was really inspiring to see how much respect they all had for one another. That's really cool. That's cool. That's wholesome stuff here. Wholesome stuff here. We don't get much happiness in animators. There's wholesomeness happening. They're all extremely talented. Key artists, action. I mean, for damn sure. I mean, even if you're not like into like these different individual animators and whatnot and who they are and what they kind of achieve here, you can just what you've seen. You know what you've seen. Even if you're not a fan of Solo Leveling, you could acknowledge the show freaking looks amazing in the animation department. They're all extremely talented, key artists, animators, and their own style, unique touch, but all consistently amazing. We also had 2 really promising next generation animators. Thank you. Please nurture them. Not like other studios, nurture them. Keep them around. Both part of A1 Pictures family. Whenever they had questions or needed advice, they would go to Tori, who was always generous and encouraged them and guide them. You mean he yelled at them and cursed them out? I'm joking. Bottom line, it was a dream team. Solo Leveling recently became the most reviewed anime on Crunchyroll. Yep, that's true. And currently holds a record for most liked episodes with over 540,000 likes. How does it feel to have this level of global impact and fan love for the series? Both of them replied, as animated producers, we don't know if we will ever encounter another project with this same scale and impact as Solo Leveling. Thank you for keeping that in mind. This is a good mindset to have. I feel like Crunchyroll as a company doesn't realize this sometimes, so it's good that their producers and whatnot are realizing this stuff. Don't expect everything to have the success. Don't. It's a rare kind of series. This has been a truly special experience in our careers. Yeah, the whole point here is that really that Solo Leveling already had a brood fandom. This thing was already cooking, and it's something that is a global scale. A lot of different source materials and whatnot sort of keep to their region. They don't have that big popularity. Like, I mean, a good example, because I'm big in that fandom. I'm not big in the fandom. I'm super like invested in the fandom. So people get me wrong. Like, I have some big head here. I love Mushoku Tensei, and I know that there's a passionate fandom behind it, but it's mostly like in the region that it actually is. Yes, there is a passionate fandom outside of it, but it's not like a big passionate fandom outside of Japan. It wasn't until the anime came out that suddenly it gets the attention of a lot of people globally. But even still, it's not much. With specifically Solo Leveling, it's different in the idea that it was this manhwa, or was it originally this novel, but it's a manhwa, and that just took off. It just took off globally, not just in Korea. That's the key thing there. It gained a global popularity. So it basically has, from the get-go, before it even starts airing, it already has plenty of advertising. The people themselves, the fans themselves, will be the advertisers to get it out there. And as long as the studio acknowledges that and nurtures it, and again, gives it 10 to 12 months per episode, it's going to be able to magnify from that point. It's going to multiply. It has a massive multiplier on it. The fandom will multiply it. Give them what they need to multiply it. They're ready to multiply it. That's the key thing there. It is really something that probably will not happen again. It's going to take a very, very, very popular shonen series coming up out of nowhere that's going to get this type of attention. Again, because they didn't have to market it. That's the key thing there. They didn't even have to market it. The fans did it for them. And then in effect, that means the producers are going to give it more money because they expect it's going to be successful and it's going to make money in return. Is the dream team behind Solo Leveling anime aware of how big the Solo Leveling hype is worldwide? Did you guys expect this level of popularity at the start? I mean, this is literally what I just said. If they didn't know, they don't deserve their job. If they don't know, then they don't deserve their position. We were well the underlying, okay, thank you, fandom for Solo Leveling. And we knew it was going to be popular, but we never expected to get this big. It's amazing to see. It exceeded our expectations. Good. I mean, it's fine to see that it exceeded, but yeah, if they weren't aware of it, what the hell are they doing? Like, this is the whole point of them adapting it. They know how popular it is. Season 1 was visually good. Season 2, even better. Will you be able to level up again? Oh my gosh, cheesy, dude. Come on, guy. You get the avatar, too. Come on, dude. You better level up again and be even better. So I'm sorry. Season 2 and Season 3. They both answered, do you know Dragon Ball's Genki Dama Spirit Bomb? We need your energy. If we're going to make a Season 3, it's going to take all the support and energy from the fans. I learned that from Akira Toriyama himself. May the great Akira Toriyama rest in peace. Aw. Yeah, I think this is one that's kind of been question mark quoted, I guess. Like a lot of confusions to this response here. It's having fun. It's saying give us your support. It's really that's what the Spirit Bomb thing is. Everybody's kind of quoting this as it's going to require the support of the fans if it's going to happen or something like that. People stop quoting things all weird. This isn't a difficult thing to understand. He's literally talking, give us your energy, support us, cheer us on, kind of thing. That kind of thing. That's what the Spirit Bomb is. Everybody's supporting one goal. Not that they're directly changing things. Yeah, it's going to be great. You're crazy if it's not going to be great. I'm curious about the process of choosing the symbolisms, the OPED. Could you tell us more about it? I don't know if I want to see this, read that one, because I know there's like supposedly something in the ED. I don't know. I don't want to read it. There's like spoilers in the ED or something like that. I don't want to read it. You could pause it back there and read it yourself. Did any of the team members already love solo leveling before producers started? How did that influence the work? Furuhashi says, my first encounter with solo leveling was around 2019, when I started developing an interest in Webtoon. I thought the manhwa was genuinely fascinating, and I felt that if such a visually powerful work were to be adapted into an anime, it would become a truly amazing visual piece. That's when I initiated the anime adaptation project with Aniplex. I do like, and I don't know if he's just fluffing here. There's a lot of cases where they just say, yeah, I'm a big fan of this series. And you're like, yeah, you're not a fan of it. I do like the idea of something like this, especially having somebody working on the production itself that actually understands the work, because there is an element of, and he probably felt this back then when he first started reading it, if anybody adapted this, they're going to totally butcher this. That's probably what he was thinking. If this gets adapted, they're going to butcher it. But now that he's at the forefront, he can go, okay, I know what I wanted back there when I read it. I want that adapted. That's my hope. And it seems like it's in fruition as we see it adapted. That's what their mindset was. I want to do it how I envisioned it when I read it. Oh my gosh, this is a long one. What was the biggest challenge in adapting solo leveling? How did the team decide what content to keep cut and arrange? Why'd you cut out the vigilante song, huh? Why'd you cut out his vigilante experience, huh? This might sound a little obvious, but close communication with the original author was incredibly important. That's good. At the same time, they say that a lot. I hope it's true. We also had to think carefully about what the audience would want to see. What scenes would be the most emotional or impactful? Through ongoing conversations with the director, producers, and screenplay team, we really focused on shaping the arcs and moments that would resonate most. Furuhashi says the original source material is designed to be consumed in short bursts, around 2 to 3 minutes per chapter. Whew, that's a long time. So adapting it into a 30-minute anime episode was definitely a challenge. We had to stretch that stuff. So we got in contact with the guy that did the recent Demon Slayer season when he turned a single panel into half an episode. I'm sorry. We wanted to make sure that the emotion flows stayed intact and didn't get lost in translation. To do that, we sometimes had to rearrange scenes and add new mini episodes to fill the gaps and maintain satisfying narrative. Yeah, they did a lot. Like the whole scene with him at the house with the mom when they first came in there. Kind of got moved around a lot. Which phase of the production was the most time-consuming and challenging for you? And what would you consider the best fight for Season 2? And I'm desperately waiting for Season 3 announcement. Thank you for all your work. Kaneko says, Episode 24 really stood out to me. I don't recall the exact average, but most solo leveling episodes typically had around 8,000 to 10,000 frames. Wow. Episode 24 had about 17,000. That is crazy. Which completely eclipsed the others. I mentioned this on X as well, but the scene where Jinwoo is fighting everyone with the red and blue representing the conflict with the purple background setting the tone, it was incredibly moving. It felt like Jinwoo had crossed into something even deeper, into another side of himself entirely. That's crazy though. That is a crazy amount of frames. More crazy because the fact that it's like how much of that can actually fit into a 24-minute episode is like mind-boggling. Again, each individual frame itself, which is just, again, compared to anything else, is just not going to be. It just kind of shows how much the show was, its focus was to be very free-flowing, very motion-driven, rather than it be a lot of still shots just being panned or whatever. I don't know if I want to believe this. I honestly, like, that's a lot. I don't know if I actually want to believe it, but I wouldn't put it past it. 8 to 10,000 frames sounds normal. Most people know this, but the idea here is that every single shot, every single frame of the actual show itself. What are your thoughts on the series like Solo Leveling that focus so much more on main character? It's not common for anime to have this much focus on the main character and nobody else. Do you have any plans on making the side characters to be more active and prominent in the story compared to the source material? I mean, this is where I kind of differ from a lot of people. I don't think Sung is, like, so far a really well-wrote character, but yeah, he is technically the main focus. I would argue currently with 2 seasons, from my personal experience, reading the manhwa along with the anime itself and not going beyond the anime itself, Vic is probably the most well-wrote character so far. Yeah, I would not say Sung. Since much of the story is told from the protagonist's point of view, it was a challenge to bring the other characters and sub-characters early on. The focus was very much so on Jinwoo's story and leveling up, so there weren't many natural openings to involve others in a meaningful way. But now that his world is expanding, we're seeing more opportunities to introduce strong supporting characters who could easily develop their own fan base. The question becomes, now you choose to do this. You could have had Essel involved before. The question becomes, how do we bring them to the core narrative without losing focus? There may be some creative embellishments, but we're always thinking about how to deepen character and developments as the story continues. If the original author is okay with it, this is where I'm like, I'm cool with that, but at the same time, don't veer too far from what the source material does, or otherwise you're going to make it into your own thing. That's a really touchy area to get into. Most of these are kind of repeated questions. What do you recommend for a new animator who wants to get into the industry to get in the industry? My advice, don't limit yourself to just watching anime. Open your mind to other forms of art and storytelling and seek out expressions that truly move you. Is this guy secretly Miyazaki? Is this totally gotta be Miyazaki? These otaku that are making otaku stuff. This is good advice though. I think I see this in a lot of industries, and the idea of don't just focus on this one single thing, because then you got to expand your mind, because what the problem is that if you focus too much on what's already been made, you're just going to want to create that same thing. And plus, if you're just watching anime, there's a lot of stuff in there that is kind of garbo. So you have to kind of expand your mind a little bit, and having a more broader sense of the media and storytelling and the art itself helps you kind of branch out more, create something that is unique. And that's the thing. I think it's too much focus on just turning out the same thing over and over again, especially in the anime industry right now, which is kind of getting into and could end up bleeding itself into some sort of crash. Expanding it more, thus it's a lot more of a pill. Then put 100% of your energy into creating something you genuinely love. Once you have that, approach a team or a company that you respect with your work. That kind of passion and intention can open real doors. Cool stuff there. I think that's pretty much it. Everything else is pretty much like individual episodes. Like, yeah, that was a really fun one, whatever. But cool stuff. I wasn't really expecting that much cool stuff there. But yeah, definitely check that out if you're interested. It's on Reddit again. We're the producer behind the global anime hit Solo Leveling AMA. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video and my thoughts and answers on the question itself. Again, if you have more questions on things like the whole frame thing or the episode, production times, and make like a charts and stuff for everybody, just definitely let me know. Hit me up on Discord or something like that. We have a link down in the description below. It's really hard to get in with the comments in the YouTube because it's gotten to the point where it's just getting too much. I can only look at this for so long before it's just too much. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, hit the like button down below. If you like this content and you want to support channel more of this, description below. Greatly appreciate it. Until next time, y'all take care.